I like what Ambrose Redmoon said, that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the judgment that what you want is more important than your fear. I used to be intimidated by people because they had more education, because they had more money, because they had credentials, because they had contacts, because they had four-color brochures, because they had books, and I didn't have all these things, because they had infomercials and they had television exposure, and I didn't have all those things. But the judgment that providing for my family was more important than my feeling inferior, more important than my fears. The judgment that I have to control my future. The judgment that I want to be able to take care of my mother, that when my mother becomes ill, I want to be in a position to do more and just pray for her. Oh no, whatever she needs medically, I will be able to write the check. The judgment that my children would have a choice to go to the college of their choice to give them a competitive edge in the future. The judgment that, oh no, one day I'm going to be able to have vacations. I will go to Paris. I'll go to Tahiti. I will go to Jamaica. I will go to Hawaii. The judgment, I have more time for myself. The judgment that I'm going to secure my grandchildren's future and my great-grandchildren. The judgment of those things that make life worth living was more important than my fear. What is it that will make it worth it for you to face the rejections? What is it that will make it worth it for you to brainstorm and not be intimidated and say, I can do this? What is it that will make it worth it for you to raise the bar on yourself and say, I got some more stuff in me. Oh, I haven't even gotten my biggest deal yet. What is it that will make it worth it for you to go back to a customer who slammed a door in your face? What is it that will make it worth it for you to know your vitamin, that you become empowered by it? What is it that gives you the strength and the power? I got a saying on one of my tapes, and life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. What is it that will help you get back up again?
You've lived a life dominated by doubt and fear. How do you step into bravery? Step. That's how you step into bravery. Step. Take the step. Step aggressively towards your fear. And that step towards your fear is the step into bravery. Because we're scared of what we don't know. And there is only one way to learn and to know, and that is to confront that fear. You have to step, you have to go. And this simple action, this simple attitude, it answers so many questions. So many questions. How do you get to the gym every day? You step. You go. How do you change your diet? You step. You go. How do you overcome fear of failure, or fear of success, or fear of fear itself? You step. And how do you face the fear of the unknown? You step. Don't wait anymore. Don't think anymore. Don't plan anymore. Don't contemplate anymore. Don't make any more excuses or justifications. Don't rationalize anything else. No, no, and no. Instead, be aggressive. Take action now. And what is the first action that you need to take? What's the first step you need to take? The first step you need to take is just that. Step.
Let me just speak from the heart, speak from my gut, and really not have anything prepared, but just tell you what's worked for me. And maybe some of the stuff that's worked for me might work for you now, currently, presently, as you guys have your goals and ambitions, NBA championship, MVPs in this room, things like that. But then further on down the line, as you guys continue to live your life. The first thing I just want to say is this idea and this notion that you can be anything you want, you can accomplish anything you want, right? We hear that. You've heard that from the time you were little boys. You hear that now. You're already incredibly accomplished. You can win an NBA championship, MVP of the league. You could become president. You could become governor. You could be in entertainment. You could do Charles, and you could do Shaq. You could do that. You could do whatever you want to do. You guys know that. The thing that has worked for me is to remember the hard times. So, and I'm sure you guys all have your processes. And again, I'm going to tell you what's worked for me. So before a big movie comes out, before back in the days when I was wrestling with WWE, a WrestleMania match, anything big that would happen, I would always take a moment and I'd just remind myself, all right, I was evicted when I was 14. We were kicked off the island. We couldn't live in Hawaii. Had no place to live. A lot of shit happened. Then when I moved to Nashville, I was arrested multiple times by the time I was 16 years old. Like, I remember that. If I were playing on this team, which my skills are, what's that term? Oh, the shits. So I would never play. But before I lace up, before I get on the court, before I play in these big games, before I go to the Staples Center, where history is there, those are historic walls there at the Staples Center. I would remember that, and it allows me then to be present in the moment and understand, holy shit, the stuff I have around me right now, this is the shit that I dreamed of when I was a kid. I am here. I played for University of Miami, played for great teams. Warren Sapp, Ray Lewis, they were my teammates. They were balling. Warren Sapp was playing tight end at that time. I was starting defensive tackle. Yeah, they moved him over to D-line, and he looked at me, he's like, yo, dude, I'm gonna take your spot. I said, you ain't taking my fucking spot. He said, I'm gonna take your spot. We battled, and he took my spot. You can imagine how that fucked with me, because there goes my opportunity. He went in, switched to defensive tackle, lit the world on fire. Well, what that did, it crushed me, it crushed my dreams. I had a piss poor senior year, zero production, no NFL, no combine invite, nothing. Finally went to the CFL, Calgary Stampeders, making $250 a week Canadian. Now I had to send that shit home to my wife at that time. Had no money. So I remember that. When I got cut from Canada, I had $7 in my pocket. And I always tell that story. So now my production company is $7, advertising agency is $7, everything is $7. So I always remember that. What helps me is to keep the hard times in the front of my mind, because it allows me to go into these big moments that I've worked my ass off, and you guys have worked your ass off. It allows me to go into these big moments with a different perspective.
It's called raw accountability. Not just accountability where we find that nice happy word. If you're fat, you look in the mirror and say, wow, I eat a little too much. No, you're fucking fat.
My exoskeleton is larger than yours.
Right. No.
That's the new one, right?
Yeah, you cannot say that to yourself.
No.
But see, you have to make a list of the things that you don't like to do. This list should be very long. Like, if you don't like making calls, the very first thing you should do is start making a shit ton of fucking calls. Because why? That begins to own you. You start to drive yourself this way versus this way. But you'll figure out, if you start making a whole bunch of fucking calls, if you like calling, call a lot. Guess what happens?
You get over it.
You get over it. So what we do a lot is, I heard a lot of people say, triple down on this, triple down on most of your strength. No. That works for a lot of things. But when you're afraid and you don't have the courage, you have to triple down on your weaknesses and make that become where you start to guide yourself. Okay, I don't like calling. Today I'm making 100 calls. I'm gonna dial 100 times.